Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Astrology Today. My name is Melanie Rose, and I am here to share your daily aspects. Today is Monday, February 21, 2022. And the sun is in Pisces now. Sun in Pisces is like the oasis, the pause between breaths, the personal moment that we take for our bodies to care for ourselves, to take nourishment, to rest, to recreate, to procreate before we get up and make a new start. Both of Pisces ruling planets are in their home sign right now, making this an especially fertile moment for taking inspiration, using our imaginations, and creating something beautiful and new, friends. Be wise and intentional about how and where you plant your seeds now, for they will grow strong and abundant. And, the waning gibbous moon here starts in Libra today, making ingress to Scorpio early. I almost said Virgo. They're very similar signs. This represents a shift in our personal life focus from the outward search for truth to a more inward focus on knowing. And the waning gibbous moon here invites us to make ready our stack, our lists, our donations, so that we can be prepared this Wednesday to release what no longer serves us. So review and prepare. Prepare to release, prepare to let go at this time, so that at the end of this cycle, when we reach the new moon, we'll have this nice clean slate to work with, and we can start with our intentions and goals again from there. Okay, we have a legend on the side of the page. I just want to point that out. This has all of the symbols that are on the page today. So if you have a question and you want a reference point, this is it. Otherwise, we're going to get straight into the aspects. I have divided the page into two columns, one for each of our luminaries. Now, the moon sheds light on our inner lives. This is our relationship with ourselves, how we feel in our bodies, hearts and minds, what we think, feel, know, and intuit, and also how we are engaged in our home life. And the aspects that the moon makes are really relatively brief. The transits are 2.5 days, and the aspects themselves are 2 hours. So these brief aspects, they have a lot more to do, again, with what's on the inside, with those things that we think, feel, know, and intuit. And then the sun sheds light on our outer lives. This is who we are when we step out the door, the person that people first get to know when they meet us, and how we are engaged in our work, social, and civic lives. And I address the sun's aspects and all the other planets as well on the side, because they have more to do with who we are in the outer life, how we interact with the rest of the world, and they take longer than those lunar aspects as well. And we start with the moon today, Central Standard Time, friends, at 3:19 a.m. Moon makes ingress to Scorpio. So this is like the inward search for truth and transformation. Scorpio is a very internal sign. It is a searching inward sign. It's a getting to the point of the truth sign. And especially when it's the moon in Scorpio, then we might be very much in our emotions and intuitions at this time. Scorpio is co-ruled by both Mars and Pluto. Pluto is that planet for transformation, those deep and total changes. So Scorpio's really got a feeling about it of being deep inside of ourselves and being on that transformative path. Then at 4:47 p.m., the moon makes a square with Mercury. Now, moon in aspect with Mercury brings us into a mode of wanting to think, talk, and plan, especially when it comes to our inner life, how we're feeling on the inside, how we're feeling in our bodies and in our homes. We may experience with this square aspect some fear or anxiety, some little temperament clash coming up. Talk to someone you trust. Okay, don't avoid saying what's in your heart and on your mind. Find someone that you can trust to share it with, and go ahead and do that. And you might at least be able to get over the challenge. Okay, so a challenge is not an immovable obstacle. It's really something that you have to pause and notice and address and then move on. And then at 11:10 p.m. the moon goes in opposition to Uranus. So if you're up at this hour, the moon and Uranus, it brings about this sort of urge to sort of almost an intuitive urge to change things up. And sometimes those changes happen very quickly. And we're talking about quick changes, or an urge to do quick changes in the heart and home. But there's an opposition aspect here, which brings about the possibility for conflict and an opportunity to find a balance. Okay, so be kind to yourself and be loving with others as you change and shift through, or go through whatever changes are happening, on the inside of yourself or on the inside of your home. And then at 12:45, so 12:10, almost when this 2-hour aspect is over, this one comes in, and it's a really positive aspect. This trine functioning is like ideal functioning energies. It can bring about synchronicities and coincidences, and it's just a very harmonious vibe. Moon in aspect with Jupiter is always a good feeling. We notice our growth and the way we're expanding. We feel, large, and we can be generous at that time. Very giving, very positive, good fortune vibe. So with that positive, ideal trine functioning right now, our confidence and charm are all the way on. We really enjoy the company of others, especially in the heart and home. So if we're up in the middle of the night and we're enjoying the company of some people that we enjoy, like, so much the better. Have a little late night party. And then on the sun side of the page today, we have two aspects in the ongoing column. One is Venus conjunct Mercury, Venus conjunct Mars. I think we have had a Venus conjunct Mercury lately. All of these planets have been sort of shifting through the same signs at the same time, in and out. And, Venus, we had that Venus retrograde back in December and January. We had to really think about how we come to our relationships and how we want to be better in our relationships. And we had to think about the commitments we've made, the people that we are in partnership with, and, make some determinations as to how that's working and whether we think that we can keep going forward with this. So having come out of that, hopefully we're much more aware of ourselves in our partnerships, and hopefully, we've made the choices that we need to make so that we can feel committed to the people that we are keeping around us. Venus conjunct Mars is all about partnership, and seriously, Venus and Mars are hanging out right next to each other in the sky. And pretty soon they'll be completely conjunct. They'll be right on top of each other. So the effect of conjunct then is to brighten both of the planets that you see. So, and these are planets that you can see, actually. So it might be very interesting to get out there when Venus is out in the early morning and see how close Mars is to it, and see how they draw together. So Venus is our receptive capacity. We have to clear space within our lives, and we have to be open to receiving. It's essential to receiving those things that we like love and can't get enough of, okay, is we have to have room for them. So, clear a space in your heart and be open to receiving. And it's not just love and affection, although Venus has a lot to do with that. Venus is a very romantic sign. It's also about resources, though. Venus is also about finance, romance and finance. So, Venus has a lot of pulling power, a lot of attractiveness. Venus is well resourced. And Mars is your sign, instead of being receptive, for initiative. So Mars is assertive, aggressive even, and somewhat impetuous, somewhat likely to act without thinking. So, you've got a good combination, though, here of drive and resources all in the same place. What are your partnership goals? Get going, okay? And something came up for me while I was reflecting on this, and that is that, we want to be aware of the temptation within ourselves and other people to seek emotional fulfillment in something or someone new. And that's not to say that, like somebody's going to cheat or anything like that. But, sometimes we desire something and then we get it and we just get completely absorbed in it. And like that could be, a video game console, or, a membership in a special club, or, to make friends, or to get this job that we've really wanted. And, we become absorbed in it, and we forget to attend our committed relationships, the ones that we're already in. And this is very much about your partnerships, and not just your romantic partnerships, your workplace partnerships. Both of these planets are currently in Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn. So it's definitely about the work we have to do. It can be about your workplace partnerships, or it can just be about the work you have to do in being in partnerships with people. So, like I said, this is a time to attend your commitments. If you said you were going to be somewhere, don't call it off. If you told somebody you would show up, if you promised to take care of something, just go ahead and do it. And don't get distracted by things that give you a different kind of emotional fulfillment or something fresh, right? And then also we have Jupiter in a sextile position with Uranus, and these are traveling at the same, these are sort of like staying together at the same time. Jupiter is your planet for positive expansion, good fortune, higher education, travel abroad, like all those things that really expand your experience. And Uranus is your planet for awakening to change. And man, I did this wrong. This is Uranus, and this is your planet for awakening to the shifts and changes that you can make in order to make things go better for you, easier for you, or more abundantly for you. However, whatever it is that you need to work in the direction of, as long as you're focused on it, those shifts and changes are going to become apparent to you, and then you've got to step in that direction and make that shift, okay? And, our creative approaches shift and change as our generative capacity expands. So what I'm talking about here is, this is creativity, inspiration, imagination, and Jupiter is Pisces' traditional ruler, and is sitting right there in Pisces, and is saying, let's grow this capacity to generate and create, okay? And then you've got this, shifting and changing happening here. It's all very positive, though, because you've got this sextile function. The sextile, it's not just positive, it is dynamic. It creates something. It's generative, okay? Again, be careful where you're planting your seeds. Now is not the time, though, to be small, all right? Take all the space and time you need to create your masterpiece. When that inspiration comes in, and you know what you've got to do, the scale on which you have to work, do what you have to not be, hemmed in, all right? and work with your partners. Your partners will help you grow the space that you need to create your masterpiece, your creative, to make the creative shift that you are making right now, so that you can manifest better, more of what you like, love, and can't get enough of. Because that assertiveness at this time and the work that you put into it are really going to be rewarded. All right, coming up on Wednesday, we have that third quarter moon in Sagittarius, and that's when we will shift from review and prepare to push things out to actually pushing things out, okay? We're going to release. We're going to let go. We're going to get rid of ideas, assumptions, dispositions, attitudes, stuff, okay? And we're just going to push it out the door. We're going to give it to somebody else, or we're going to just release it into the air. And then also on Wednesday, the Mercury makes a sextile relationship with Chiron, and that's, communicating about the solutions that we seek in a way that generates positive outcomes. Venus on Thursday is going to make a sextile relationship with Neptune. That's our loving, receptive nature, our charm and our pulling power, and our relationship to the human collective, where we stand in the flow of the human spirit in this positive, generative relationship that's gonna hopefully create something positive. And then also on Thursday, Mercury makes a square with Uranus, and that's going to be, we're going to have some conversations about those shifts and changes that we're making and where the challenges are coming up for us. Okay, that is it for the aspects today. Thank you for sticking with me. Go ahead and give me a like or a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Share this with someone that you think it might resonate with, someone you know loves astrology, or perhaps somebody you just think could use the little bit of connection that this gives you, just to see like these things that we're all going through. We're all going through them. It's not just me, and it's not just you. We're all in this together, folks. All right. Now I'm going to shift to talking a little bit about tarot. And first I'm going to address the card on the side of the page. So this card is the Eight of Cups, and it represents the first 10 days of the sun's transit through Pisces. And the Eight of Cups has a feeling of, again, moving away, walking away from something. Cups are emotion, intuition, and creativity. So, perhaps there was an emotional investment made. Perhaps you had a hunch that something was really going to work out. Perhaps you tried to create something, an emotional bond with something or someone, and what you got from it was probably an informative experience, but overall disappointing. And so, when we come to that impasse, sometimes, it's disappointing, and you're like, oh, I made all this emotional investment. I put so much of my heart into this, and it really just isn't what I want. Okay. It isn't what I need. It's not what I'm looking for. It isn't my masterpiece, right? I put so much creative effort into this, and it just didn't work out the way I wanted to. So what we do is we walk away. And again, I just want to, remind you to communicate when you're walking away. If anybody else was invested in the project that you were working to create, you have to have that conversation with them as well. And there can be feelings of sadness and disappointment. There can be regret. There can also be, somebody might be unhappy with you if it looks as though you just abandoned something that you put your whole heart into. So, we have to attend to that. We need to think about it, especially if it has to do with partnership, okay? Any of the partnerships in your lives. But the good news is, by being willing to, just leave that emotional investment in the past and understand that you will have more to give in the future for something that looks, feels, and works better for you. being capable of doing that means that you will find fulfillment somewhere down the road. You will know next time. It's sort of like, looking back on the culmination of the full moon and saying, hey, we had a celebration, that went pretty well, but last time what we did, this thing didn't work for me, and I would like to make sure that we don't do that again, right? So it's a learning, right? It's a lesson learned, and we can treat it that way and mend our hearts and move on. Okay, and then with that said, I'm going to throw a tarot card just for today, friends. And the cards have been shuffled, but I'm going to go ahead and continue to mix them up while I remind myself and the cards that the sun is in Pisces, as are Pisces' two co-rulers, Jupiter and Neptune. And that's really represents the creative capacity, the fertility, and the expansion of those capacities. Okay, so really, really big possibilities right now. And then the moon is a waning gibbous in Libra, making ingress to Scorpio early today. So we'll be perhaps in our hearts just a little more internal and a little more questioning of ourselves and feeling the deep feelings about things. And that's great. Take a couple of days to really know what you have within and to feel those feelings. And to intuit those intuitions, and to have those deep recalls and those understandings that come from really thinking about yourself. Also, the sun is in this trine aspect. I didn't talk about that. The sun makes a trine aspect with the moon today at 8:28 a.m. And this is about the moon's phase. It's about the halfway point between the full moon and the third quarter moon. So it also represents like inner and outer harmonious functioning, and we have that as this as we start beginning to get things ready to let them go, right? It's a release, and it's a release at a time when our hearts and minds are fully aligned and our conscious and subconscious are fully aligned. So we have good access to how we feel, what we want, what we know, and what we can get rid of. Okay, and then we have, a couple of challenging aspects in the afternoon on the moon side. So if you're one of those who are susceptible to those sort of ambient vibes that can affect your emotions and intuitions, all I can say is don't be afraid to talk to somebody that you trust, and really be kind to yourself and try to be kind to the people around you if you're struggling. All right, and with all of that said, strength. Okay, so the strength card, in terms of the conversations we're having right now about creative capacity being expanded, and the work that we have to do within our partnerships to build and grow something great. What kind of strength does that take? It takes the strength to, focus on what you're trying to create. And focus is is very important. And it also takes the strength to remember your commitments, to not get easily distracted, and to really be present. Okay, being present is part of strength. Being patient is part of strength, definitely, right? Being kind to yourself and others, having compassion for yourself and others, having trust for yourself and others. That's what strength talks about. And especially, if I put this together with the Eight of Cups, that disappointment and that abandonment of some sort of emotional or creative investment, that takes strength too. Like walking away from something that, it's good, but it's just not quite what you need, right? It's good, but it's not good enough for me. So, if you have had the strength lately to walk away from someone or something that you really put a lot of yourself into, but then you just realize it's not going to work. It's really not what I need. It takes strength to walk away and to start fresh. It takes strength to tend your wounds and, not to become jaded and disappointed and unwilling to invest again in the future. Okay, so use your inner strength to be compassionate and kind with yourself, to be honest with yourself, and, mend that broken heart, mend that disappointment so that you can, again, invest again in something that you trust. Okay, and I think that's all I have to say about that. If you have any thoughts about what you see here, or if you have any questions, I sure appreciate any comments you want to leave down below the video. Otherwise, I just want to thank you all again for being here today. My name is Melanie Rose, and I will see you all back here tomorrow for more daily aspects.